Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, guys. We're taking a look today at the most popular potential buyouts going into the 2021 NHL offseason. We'll be taking a look at that right now. So let's get right into things. So we have a couple of names, four in particular, that I think could be very attractive buyouts this offseason. Now, I hate talking about this because, guys, it's kind of demeaning for the guy that gets bought out. You're basically telling the guy, listen, it's more advantageous for us to pay you less money per season and not have you on the team than to pay you what you're worth per season for the rest of your contract with you here. That's kind of a stone cold hard way of putting things, but that's the hockey business, right? So we're going to be looking at a couple of names that we've been hearing about that seem likely, whether I think it's likely or not, or whether it's worth it. So we'll be looking at the value of that, and that is according to Cap Friendly. So guys, if you do not know already, make sure to check out Cap Friendly. I'm eventually one of these days going to put it in the description down below. Hopefully I'll do it for this video. They are really good with the buyout calculators and trades and signings and no move clauses and the clauses involved in everything. They are really, really good. So if you want to be a hockey nerd in terms of knowing that stuff and how much does Riley Sheahan make, you could look that up, right? So make sure to check that out. Just giving a quick plug to Cap Friendly. But let's get right into it. So we're going to start things off with the New York Rangers. And the New York Rangers, again, I've been talking about the Rangers a lot. They're kind of pissing me off now. But we're looking at right shot defenseman who's 25 years old, Tony DeAngelo. He has one more year left at a $4.8 million deal. Now, this is an interesting spot for the Rangers because he has 1 year left. And you look at where the Rangers' window is right now. They see an opportunity here with Capo Caco, Alexis Lafreniere, and Keandre Miller, some of their young guys still on entry-level deals. They want to get the most value for them. And not to mention with the season Adam Fox just had, when his next contract is up, he's going to command a lot of money. So the Rangers want to take advantage of the low cap hit that they have right now. And that extra money that they save here from Tony DeAngelo this summer to bolster up their roster and free agency, wherever, and trades, that they can in fact do that. And Tony DeAngelo being bought out could be a solution here for the new GM, Chris Drury. Now, Chris Drury has been pretty adamant since he's gotten into office. People have asked him, well, what's your situation with DeAngelo? You're going to bring him back? He pretty much made it abundantly clear Tony DeAngelo will not be coming back to our locker room anytime soon. So, let's say he gets bought out. Well, it would take 2 years worth of a buyout. So instead of paying him next year for that $4.8 million, you would be, it would cost you 2 years, but a lot less money. So the cap hit per season, it would only be $300K for this year, and it would be a little over $800K next season. So you are saving a lot in that year that, you're saving almost $4 million because the way the contract constructed, you're going to be saving more money in that buyout. So do I see Tony DeAngelo getting bought out? Yeah, you're going to be saving money. Now, it's going to cost the Rangers money next season, but less than $1 million. So it's still worth it. The offset of what they're saving for this year is going to be worth it for what they have to pay in the 2022-2023 season. It's worth it for the Rangers. So that is definitely worthy of a buyout, in my opinion. Gets the check mark. Let's move on. Tony DeAngelo will be bought out by the Rangers. I'm already calling that in. So we're going to move on to, I don't want to do him yet. I'm wearing his jersey. Well, one of his jerseys. The Buffalo Sabres. We are looking at Jeff Skinner. Now, this is an ugly one by Jason Botterill. He signed this contract back a couple years ago, and it does not look pretty. We are only in year 3 of this 8-year, $9 million per season deal. Yeah, this one is ugly. This is an ugly. Did I say ugly? I'll say it again. Ugly contract by Jason Botterill. And this is going to hurt the Buffalo Sabres for the next 12 years. That is how bad this buyout is. So, let's go through it. So, the first year, it would only be a little under $1.5 million in a cap hit. So you save $7 million. So that's a great savings, right? Yeah. And that's about it for the savings, because everything else they are not saving much, or they're actually getting hurt. So, okay, let's get into it. Yeah, so the first couple of years of the buyout is worth it. So you're saving $7 million the first year. You're saving very little the second year. And then years 3, 4, and 5, and 6, you are saving money on it. But then from year 7 to 12, it's going to cost them $2.5 million. So it's not worth it. You're not saving money. And the cap hit per season is pretty roughly, it's around 2.5 per season. The second year is almost $9 million, though, on the cap hit for Jeff Skinner. So that is a little bit ugly. Yeah, this is just a terrible, the way this contract was constructed and the way everything worked out. Jeff Skinner went there at the perfect time, where he had a desperate GM that had enough cap space, and Jeff Skinner, it doesn't matter. He's going to get his money. But, man, this really screwed over the Buffalo Sabres. This is not worthy of a buyout. You're not buying this one out, Buffalo. Kevin Adams, you are not digging yourself out of this one. This is not going to be bought out, at least in my opinion. I think it's not worth it. And you look at the numbers, it's not worth it. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers. Now, they're an interesting team because they are depending on how they do this offseason too, their expectations next year could be a Final Four team in the conference finals or a Stanley Cup contender, right? So at that point, they may need this little bit of cap space here the next couple of years, and it may just be worth it to buy out forward James Neal, who has a couple. What's James Neal's situation? James Neal has. Of course, I forgot to put his name on here. But James Neal, I think he has 2 years left at $6 million per year. So he still has to get paid $12 million. He still has a lot of money on the table. This would be a 4-year buyout. So the first year, it would cost a little under $2 million on the cap. It would cost, the whole deal, the whole 4 years, it would cost around $2 million on the cap. The savings, it's really up front. You would save almost $4 million for the first 2 years of the buyout, so that's good. And you would save almost $2 million for the following years 3 and 4 on the buyout. So is this buyout worth it? S gets a check mark. This is the second buyout we are going to see this offseason. I agree. James Neal should be bought out by the Oilers. The Oilers, that $4 million, that could be just enough for them to keep a guy like Tyson Barrie around. Or one of Tyson Barrie or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And maybe they decide they're not going to keep either. I think the price tag on both of them is going to be quite high this offseason. So they may have to let some of those guys go. But they're going to need another third-line center and another depth, really another top 4 defenseman, especially if Klefbom doesn't come back. So that $4 million saved this year in a team that has a window where they can win, this, especially with how McDavid's been playing, if he can do that the next couple years, this is a worthy buyout for the Oilers. So, yes, this gets a check mark for me. James Neal will be bought out. Another very popular one, and I think this is an interesting one too. Out in San Jose, a lot of you Sharks fans have mentioned that they should buy out goaltender Martin Jones of the San Jose Sharks, and I agree with this one as well. You look at the way it's constructed. He has, let's take a look. So he has 3 years left at $5.75 million per season. He's 31 years old. This is going to suck, though, because it is, for 3 years, they're going to be paying him for the next 6. It's a 6-year buyout, and it is going to be worth it, though, especially up front. The first 2 years, you're saving a little less than $4 million saved. Definitely worthy of the buyout. It's around $2 million per season on the cap, give or take every couple years. Like it gets to almost $3 million in year 3. It stays under $2 million in years 4, 5, and 6, which is good. But overall, it is still a pretty hefty buyout. But like I said, the savings for the first 2 years are a little over $3 million, and everything after that is between $3 and $2 million. Definitely a worthy buyout. gets a check mark for me. Martin Jones will be bought out by the Sharks. They're going to need that extra cap space if they want to add some depth up front. It may even cost them at the expense of some guys on the back end like Radim Šimić or Jacob Middleton. They may have to move those guys out just to clear some cap space. Excuse me. So I think that's an absolute yes. So we're doing pretty good here. I mean, the only non-buyout right now is Jeff Skinner. Everybody else is a worthy buyout. So let's take a look at the last one, and this one is going to be interesting. So we're looking at the Minnesota Wild, and no, not Ryan Suter. He could be in that conversation eventually, but I'm going to go with Zach Parise, the other guy that was signed on that, looking back, dreaded day in 2012 for the Minnesota Wild in free agency. Zach Parise. Zach Parise is a very big candidate that we've been hearing in Minnesota, especially with how some of the guys like Kirill Kaprizov and Jordan Greenway have been playing, and not to mention the young guys that will be coming in like Marco Rossi and Matthew Boldy. They don't really need Zach Parise, so if they could buy him out, is it worth it? So Zach Parise still has 4 years left at $7.5 million per season. It's pretty expensive, and he's 36 years old, which may play into it as well. I'm not totally sure, but that may be a factor in terms of how this structure works. So, this is ugly. So, it's an 8-year buyout for the Minnesota Wild, and it's actually pretty favorable for the first 4 years, but it's not even really worth it. So you save $5 million the first year. And the cap hit is really all over the place. I'll pull up the numbers here for you guys during the video so you could just get an idea of where this is at. It's very confusing, this one. But again, that's with signing bonuses and everything. That has a lot to do with these buyouts. So obviously, he didn't get a huge signing bonus. This was a contract length heavy deal. So they save $5 million the first year. All right, that sounds good. But every year after that, it goes down. It goes to $1.1 million in year 2, $1.2 million in year 2 saved. It goes down to only $166,000 for years 3 and 4, and then they're actually losing money from years 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So for 5 years, they're actually losing money on the deal. So if the Minnesota Wild were a Stanley Cup champion contender for the next 2 years, you could maybe make it worth it, but the Minnesota Wild are in a rebuild, so is that really worth it? Not really. So maybe the Minnesota Wild don't see the benefits of this, because you look at the cap hit, it's all over the place. Year 1, it's $2 million on the cap hit. Years 2 and 3 and 4, it's between $6 and $7 million, which is really, that could really mess up their contracts. Thank God some of their young guys like Rossi and Boldy and Kaprizov, well, Kaprizov won't be, but a lot of those guys will still be on their entry-level deals, which definitely helps a little bit. But the cap hit is less than $1 million for years 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that is the good thing. So the back end of it, the cap hit is low, but again, they're not saving that much money at that point. So is this worthy of a buyout? Nope. Not worthy of the buyout. Not worth it. For 3 years, suck it up. You have your guys on your entry-level deals, like I said, like Marco Rossi, your goaltender Kaapo Kähkönen, Matthew Boldy. Just deal with it. Suck it up the next 3 years, and then you're clean. You're clean. You don't have to worry about it when the team starts getting good and that extra money, you're losing money in those couple years where maybe the Wild are going to be really good. That could be a problem. And what I'm seeing from Minnesota right now, this could actually be for their own good, that they have this money stowed away in guys, because in 3 years, when the team starts getting good, they'll have the money to keep their young guys around. And that's perfect. And they don't sign any weird deals like Vancouver bringing in Louis Eriksson because they think, hey, we could be a playoff team now. We made the playoffs, so we should win now. And just because Minnesota made the playoffs this year, maybe the expectations get a little too high going into the next maybe 2 or 3 years. They're still in a retool, so that's going to make for an interesting situation. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What names did I miss? Did I miss anybody? I think these were the bigger names we've been hearing. Guys like Zach Parise and Jeff Skinner are not worthy of a buyout. But these other names, it seems pretty likely. Guys like James Neal in Edmonton, Martin Jones in San Jose, Tony DeAngelo with the New York Rangers. I think they're worthy buyouts, and I think it would be worth it for the team overall. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.